Answer Ministries, Mary Mwangi and Nerima Wako, our political analysts. In a short while, I'll be linking up with our reporters Francis Gashuri, Lulu Hassan and Hassan Mugambi, who are at Uhuru Park, where the main celebrations of Mashujaa Day are taking place. But before that, we continue looking at, it's 5 days before the date set for the repeat presidential poll. We have a long 3-day weekend. Incidentally, it is also the first day of that weekend-long prayer weekend called by President Uhuru Kenyatta. It goes on until Sunday. It is an opportunity, and Bishop, you said it rightly, it is an opportunity for Kenya to actually sit back and think, where are we heading? Who can be a hero? What kind of opportunity do we have this weekend to actually ensure that Kenya goes on? As you make your final submissions, I know you also need to go out there and become heroes. Nerima, let's start with you.
It would be the perfect opportunity to, like you said it, to think. Here we are, I think, I'm saying this for a number of people, where we feel bombarded, tired, confused, and not only that, uncertain. There's a lot of uncertainty. But at the end of the day, we know that our families is what we're very, very concerned about, and the future of our children. So as much as we go out and make a living for ourselves, I think each person, each one of us is a hero, and we want the best for this country. We all know that we want the best out of this country, and I think this is the opportune time to mute the noise that we're hearing from the politics and use this moment of silence to reflect. For those who are religious, go pray, and for those who aren't, meditate. It's fine, but just using this moment to think about what's important, and that being our family first, and also because it's our family, it's our country first. And also to think about not necessarily using actions that will create chaos or havoc. Just, I think we're at a time where we need to be mellow, not hyped up. Yes.
Mary?
One needs to remember that blood was shed for the freedom that we now are enjoying. People have lost their lives, people have lost their properties, and let us not allow that to be lost in vain. Let us also remember that a hero may not be a perfect person. We need to separate their personal life from the messaging, from that which they are fighting for. So I call upon Kenyans to take this opportunity to reflect and to remember that Kenya is still a very young country, a young democracy. And these are some of the birthing pains that we will continue experiencing until we get to that point where we need to get to.
Okay.
Yes.
Bishop?
Every one of us has an opportunity to be a hero. I remember in 2007, 2008, there was this police officer, as people were fighting and killing one another. He came out and said, why are we destroying our own nation? The other police officers were busy shooting and doing all manner of things, but he stood out as a hero, put down his gun and said, let's not destroy our nation. That clip was played and replayed and played and replayed. Why? Because he swam against the tide. Heroes are people who swim against the tide. They are not people who go with the flow. Whether you're a young person, if people have gone out to riot and destroy property, you swim against the tide and say, hey man, we will need this nation after all these things are done. We will need to buy from this kiosk after everything is done. Every one of us, you know which area you are in, which space you are in. You could be in an office where people are discussing politics and the thing is so heated. You could be the hero in that space. We may never have Citizen TV on you, but you stand up there and say, hey, gentlemen, let's not kill one another over politics. And you bring sobriety in that space. Every one of us has a chance to transform the nation from where we are going. Because if we are the people who are adding fuel to fire, when this nation is destroyed, you and I will have no other nation. Wherever we go, we'll either be refugees, foreigners, aliens, you know, all those bad names. This is the only place you can be called a Kenyan, and you have freedom to do what you do. So I would call upon all of us who are Kenyans and who love this nation in your own space. I know Kenyans love saying, why are they not doing? Why are they not saying? Why are they? We don't know who they are. They is you and I. Okay. So do something in your own space that can make a difference, and you'll be the hero of the moment. We may never know, but you're the hero in that space.
And I'll ask you one more question, because now we do have Mashujaa Day, the official celebrations, and I'm sure the president will get to address one of those. We have the Nasa rally in Kisumu, and I'm sure Raila Odinga will get to address that as well. These two gentlemen have the opportunity of actually becoming heroes. Yes. What would you expect of them on this very special day when we're looking up to heroes?
I guess what I would expect from them is not only a message of unity, but to actually mean it. It's different when you are in official celebrations and you talk these things about uniting the country and having one country, and then 1 hour later in your own spaces campaigning. It's a completely different message. So I think for this day, that should be the consistent message, and to return to reason and to go back to the essence of us being independent and the heroes who fought for it, and remembering those who are still fighting for it today, as we have mentioned, that we're still heroes in this moment in time. So it would be a good thing to even hear them having a space for even negotiation, to even speak to each other. They've been speaking at each other through their different spaces, and it's been quite eruptive to watch, and seeing it also trickle down to their followers, because we're also already hearing reports of people not feeling safe at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is a perfect opportunity, because all Kenyans are at home today. They're not working.
Yes.
They're watching live on TV right now. So many people are watching even you speak on TV right now, because we're all celebrating, and this is a perfect opportunity for these two gentlemen. What is your expectation of them?
I expect them to send a clear message of unity. I expect them to become African statesmen. I want them to rise above divisive politics. I would like them to ensure that their messaging is such that Kenyans understand that Kenya comes first, regardless of their differences. That is the kind of message I would like to hear from both of them.
Okay.
Yes.
Finally, Bishop, what would you say to these two gentlemen, President Uhuru Kenyatta and NASA leader Raila Odinga?
I don't know whether what I expect them they can actually do. Because I have very high expectations. What would happen if Raila were to come out, for example, and say, I have fought for democracy in this nation. I have done what any man would do to make sure that we have a democratic space in this country. And there is no doubt that Honorable Raila has done a lot in this nation in terms of extending the democratic space. That is all his life. And in my view, that is leadership. What would happen if he says, I think I've played my part. Now let the nation move forward. I will go to my own space and enjoy the fruit of my labor. What would happen?
Wow.
What would happen if Uhuru Kenyatta says, yes, from where I sit, I believe I won the election. My victory was stolen from me the way he has said. But I am willing, for the sake of the nation, for us to sit down and see how we can move this nation forward, so that Kenyans do not die, do not live in a state of anxiety. I am willing, if need be, to step down and let other people lead.
Wow.
What would happen?
Those are very high expectations, Bishop.
That's what heroes are made of.
Yes. That's what heroes are made of.
I would be the first on the street to dance celebrating either of them who makes that kind of a statement.
Wow.
That's why I'm saying what I expect, I'm not sure they can do.
The expectations rather on heroes are very high.
Yes, you don't become heroes by drinking water.
Yes.
No, it's major
Thank you so much, Bishop David Oginde, presiding Bishop of of Christ is the Answer Ministries, Nerima Wako and Mary Mwangi, a political analyst. Thank you so much for your very well-considered opinions this morning. I can see even on Twitter a lot of praise for the sobriety that this kind of discussion has. It's been a long time coming, and I think it is a perfect opportunity today as we celebrate our heroes. You are heroes indeed for having this sober discussion this morning. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and let's now head to Uhuru Park. Francis Gashuri, Lulu Hassan and Hassan Mugambi are on standby to take us through what's happening there. Let me hand us over now to Francis Gashuri. Good morning, take it away.
Fred Indimuli, very good morning to you. Hata wewe ni shujaa, lakini kimpango. And here is Uhuru Park, and Mashujaa Day celebrations underway here, awaiting President Uhuru Kenyatta's arrival as well as the arrival of other top dignitaries. But Kenyans continue to make their way to Uhuru Park for these celebrations. Remember, it's just about 5 days to the repeat presidential election. Of course, the country is in that situation, that kind of an anxiety, that kind of a mood, and the situation remains a little different here at Uhuru Park. Celebrations here on stage now. The Sengenya dancers from Mombasa entertaining those who have already made their way to Uhuru Park, and as they wait for the top dignitaries to arrive, and among them President Uhuru Kenyatta, this is also an opportunity for Kenyans to take a moment and celebrate those who have done extraordinary things, even in the smallest of ways, and celebrate them as shujaa. Na mimi siko peke yangu, kwa sababu pia tunaye shujaa hapa ambaye anaitwa Lulu Hassan, ukipenda Lulu H. Karibu sana shujaa Lulu, sijui mambo yako vipi leo, ama nimedanganya kuwa wewe ni shujaa?
Sijafika kuwa shujaa, lakini pia ni vyema kumkaribisha mtazamaji katika lugha ya Kiswahili. Ni kwamba tunakujia moja kwa moja katika bustani ya Uhuru, ambapo ni siku ya kusherehekea mashujaa. Ni mwaka wa 8 kama sitakosea tangu tuanze sherehe hizi. Kabisa,
kwa sababu utakumbuka sherehe hizi awali zilijulikana kama Kenyatta Day, lakini baada ya katiba ya mwaka 2010 ambayo ilipitishwa mwaka 2010, siku hiyo ikabadilishwa, ikaacha kuwa Kenyatta Day, ikawa Mashujaa Day. Na hususan lengo la kubadilisha siku hiyo kutoka Kenyatta Day hadi Mashujaa Day ni kuwezesha Wakenya wote kuwasherehekea wale ambao ni mashujaa, hata kwa namna ndogo. Awali wale ambao walipigania uhuru dogo walikuwa wanaonekana kama ndo mashujaa peke yao. Licha kwamba wanasherehekewa kama mashujaa, vile vile ni vizuri kuwajumuisha Wakenya wengine ambao kwa njia moja au nyingine, wana michezo, waigizaji, hata wakulima na Wakenya wote kwa jumla ambao wanafanya mambo ambayo ni ya maana, ni ya kuwasaidia wenzao, basi pia hao ni mashujaa. Hivyo basi leo ni siku ya kuwasherehekea mashujaa wote, wale wa kupigania uhuru ambao wameshatangulia na wale ambao wamesalia, na Wakenya kwa jumla kuweza kusherehekea ushujaa wao na maisha yao ya kawaida.
Na mtazamaji, pia ukiangalia ratiba ya leo ni fupi kabisa, manake ni gavana Nairobi ataachwa wazungumze, pia vile vile aweze kumkaribisha naibu wa rais William Ruto, na pia vile vile rais Uhuru Kenyatta aweze kufunga kazi.
Bila shaka, lakini kabla ya hayo, mara nyingi sherehe kama hizi linalotia fora sana ni ile gwaride ya wanajeshi. Wajua, siku moja pia mimi nilitaka kuwa mwanajeshi, lakini kidogo wakasema kimo changu hakijatosha, alafu mbio kidogo wakasema sina. Hivyo basi ni nafasi nzuri yangu mimi, na najua vile vile Wakenya wengi kuja kutazama gwaride hii, na ni gwaride ambayo imepangwa kwa takriban mwezi mzima, na nilikuwa nazungumza pale na wanajeshi wachache, wanasema gwaride ya leo itakuwa ya kipekee. Hivyo basi wanasema hawataki kutoa siri, lakini tutie macho tu.
Mbali na kwamba leo tunazungumzia kuhusiana masuala ya mashujaa, mtazamaji, mengi yanasubiriwa kutoka kwa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta. Wakenya wengi wanatarajia kusikiza ni yapi atakayezungumza, manake tunaarifa kwamba kwa hivi sasa hali ya siasa haiko nzuri sana.
Wingu la sitafahamu limetanda nchini. Ni vizuri kusema ukweli, kwa sababu licha ya kuwa uchaguzi umeandaliwa tarehe 26, yani Alhamisi ijayo, mrengo wa NASA umesema hautashiriki uchaguzi huo kama masharti ambao wametoa hayatatekelezwa. Na watu wanajiuliza, swala ambalo watu wengi wanajiuliza ni uchaguzi huu utaandaliwa ama hautaandaliwa. Na utakumbuka hata juzi mwenyekiti wa IEBC Wafula Chebukati amewapa yellow card, kadi ya njano, wale ambao ni washiriki wa mchezo huu ama kipute hiki cha Ikulu, akiwemo Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, kwamba amewapa kadi ya njano. Na unajua wana michezo wanasema kwamba ukipewa kadi ya kwanza ya njano, ukifanya kosa lingine upewe ya njano tena, basi inakuwa red card. na hata kama hakusema red card yake ni aina gani, wengi wanadhani kwamba huenda alikuwa anatoa onyo tu kwamba iwapo swala hili halitaweza kutekelezwa ama halitaweza kusuluhishwa kwa wakati ufaao, basi yeye kama muamuzi wa mchuano huu wa urais, basi labda huenda atakajiondoa na kuligubika taifa zaidi katika wingu la sitafahamu. Hivyo basi macho yote sasa yanamlenga Rais Uhuru Kenyatta kama kiongozi wa taifa, kama mmoja wa wale ambao wanashiriki kwenye uchaguzi huu. Mazungumzo yake leo yatakuwa vipi? Kwa sababu utakumbuka katika ulingo wa kampeni amekuwa na semikali sana kuhusiana na swala hili la uchaguzi huu, na akisema kwamba lazima Wakenya waruhusiwe kupiga kura kama inavyofaa. Leo basi macho yote yatakuwa na mlenga kuona kama labda atakuwa na semi ambazo ni za kuwaleta Kenya pamoja, hata wale ambao kidogo wanatashwishi kuhusiana na uchaguzi huu, rai zake zitakuwa ni zipi, kwa sababu sasa tulikuwa tunahesabu siku, sasa tunahesabu saa kabla ya kinyang'anyiro hicho cha Alhamisi.
Na pia ni vema pia mtazamaji kuweza kufahamu ni kwamba usalama umeweza kuimarishwa kabisa, mbali na nyakati zingine. Likizwa na nini?
Usalama upo hata tulipo sasa. Lulu, waona tuko salama salmin. Si kawaida kujipata katika hali hii ambayo tuko, na maafisa wa usalama wengi tayari wameshaanza kusambazwa katika maeneo mbali kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba kwa sababu umejua kwamba kulikuwa maafisa ambao ni wa uchaguzi haswa katika maeneo ambayo yanashabikiwa sana na NASA. Baadhi jana ambao hawakutaka zoezi hili la kuwapa maafisa wa uchaguzi liendelee, na serikali imetoa onyo kali kwa wale ambao wanatiza shughuli hiyo hatua kali. Na utakumbuka hata juzi Wilson Jega akasema kwa tia mbaroni kama watu 20 mafuta kwa natoa IBC. Na hivyo basi takriban maafisa 1150 hivi ambao wanasambazwa kote nchini kuhakikisha kwamba wanasimamia uchaguzi huu kwa njia huru na haki na vile vile ya usalama. Na kibarua sasa ni kwa wale ambao watakuwa wanapiga kura kwenda kwa amani, kwa wale ambao pia hawatashiriki uchaguzi huo na watakuwa wanafanya maandamano kufanya hivyo kwa amani. Jana kinara wa NASA Raila Odinga amesema kwamba amewapa wosia wafuasi wake kwamba wasivuruge shughuli za uchaguzi. Lao tu ni kufanya maandamano kuonyesha kutoridhika kwao na shughuli nzima. Wawape wale ambao wanataka kupiga kura wanafanya hivyo, na wao kuandamana siku hiyo ya tarehe 26. Wakenya hatimaye kura zikihesabiwa wataona ni wangapi walioshiriki na ni wangapi ambao hawakukubaliana na swala hilo nzima. Hivyo basi haki zao za kuandamana ziheshimiwe, vile vile haki za wale ambao wanataka kupiga kura katika muktadha huo.
Na mtazamaji, kama unavyoona nyuma yetu ni kwamba tayari shamra zimeanza, ila kwa hivi sasa waheshimiwa hawajawasili. Tunasubiri hapo mwendo wa saa 5 kama sijakosea waweze kuwasili kwa hivi sasa, na mwenzetu Hassan Mugambi yupo hapa. Atazungumzia swala zima la usalama. Bila shaka la vile vile najua nimemwona katika pitapita zake huku kwenye wananchi. Lazima pia atupe wosia ama vile vile hisia za Wakenya, wanasema nini kuhusiana na hali ilivyo nchini katika ulingo wa kisiasa, na vile vile hasa vile vile masuala ya uchumi, kwa sababu kizaza hiki cha kisiasa bila shaka kinaathiri uchumi wa kitaifa, na uchumi ukiathirika hata yule mwananchi mdogo pale mashinani anaathirika. Jana nimeona ripoti ambayo imetolewa na sekta ya kibinafsi, wanasema biashara ndogo zinapoteza shilingi 2,000 na shilingi 9,000 kila siku kutokana na hali hii ya kisiasa, na biashara kubwa wale ambao shilingi 900,000 kila siku kutokana na hali hii ya kisiasa. Na huenda inakadiriwa kuwa uchumi wa kitaifa ulitarajiwa kukua kwa 5.7%, lakini wale ambao ni wachanganuzi wa masuala ya kiuchumi wanasema huenda usipite 5% katika ukuaji wa uchumi. Hivyo basi hali hii hata kama kuna masuala ya siasa vile vile yanaathiri uchumi wa taifa. Na labda tumpokeze usukani Hassan Mugambi atuambie wananchi wanasema nini.
Naam, shukran sana Lulu na Gashuri katika upande wa pili wa uga huu wa Uhuru Park ambapo Mashujaa Day inaadhimishwa hapa chini ya uongozi wa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta na naibu wake William Ruto, na vile vile kabisa tunatarajia Mike Sonko ambaye ni gavana wa Nairobi atakuwa ni mwenye kuzungumza na wananchi hapa hii leo katika hafla hii ya kuadhimisha siku kuu ya Mashujaa, siku kuu ambayo tunaketi kama taifa na kuweza kuangazia baadhi ya yale ambayo ama hatua ambazo tumeweza kupiga na kuweza kukumbuka wale mashujaa ambao wameweza kutufikisha katika eneo hili. Na nipo katika eneo ambapo wananchi wapo na tunaona tayari wameanza kufika katika eneo hili kujichukulia tu kwa sasa nafasi nzuri ambapo utakuwa unaangazia ama watakuwa wanaweza kuangalia vema vizuri sana ile jukwaa. Labda nikiangalia tu hivi na waona pale wananchi wanatembea tayari kuwa wenye kuketi chini, vile vile kabisa hali ya usalama imeweza kuimarishwa hapa. Tunao maafisa wa utawala, tunao maafisa wa polisi wa kawaida, tunao maafisa hata wanajeshi ambao wapo hapa kuangazia swala zima la usalama, na vile vile kabisa tunao wakuu wa utawala, machifu wapo wa Nairobi, madio wa Nairobi ama wakuu wa wilaya wapo hapa wote kuangazia tu swala zima la usalama wa eneo hili na uratibu wa sikukuu hii sikukuu hii ya Mashujaa inaweza kusherehekewa bila ya tashwishi zozote. Na tutakuwa tunazungumza na baadhi ya wananchi ambao wamefika hapa hii leo kuweza kuangazia tu ni yepi ambayo wanatarajia kusikia katika kutoka kwa kinywa cha rais, kutoka kwa kinywa cha naibu rais, kutoka kwa kinywa vile vile kabisa cha gavana wa jiji hili la Nairobi ama county hii ya Nairobi, ikizingatiwa kwamba ni sehemu ambayo ipo katikati ya kitovu cha taifa hili la Kenya, na ni wakati ambao pia vile vile bila shaka tunaangazia mambo tutakuwa tunasherehekea sikukuu hii huku mambo yakiwa ama joto la kisiasa likiwa limepanda sana katika taifa hili. Kwa hivyo tunasubiri kuona jinsi watakavyoweza kuangazia swala zima la siasa za taifa hili, ikizingatiwa kwamba ni swala ambalo hauwezi kulifumbia macho licha ya kuwa tunasherehekea watu ambao walipigania uhuru wa taifa hili na vile vile kabisa watu ambao wameweza kuweka jina la taifa hili katika ramani ya ulimwengu, watu mbalimbali. Na kwa sasa nitakuwa najumuika na baadhi ya wananchi ambao wameweza kufika hapa, na muona mwananchi mmoja hapa amesimama kando yangu. Labda nitaanza tu kwa kukuuliza, kwanza kabisa utuambie jina lako na umekuja hapa kufanya nini?
Kwa majina yangu naitwa Dennis Mremu wa Shira, na siku ya leo niko hapa sababu ya Mashujaa Day. Hii ndio siku ambayo tulipata ushujaa katika taifa la Kenya.
Na labda wewe matarajio yako ni yapi leo? Kila rais atakuwa anazungumza na Wakenya, naibu rais atakuwa anazungumza na Wakenya, na vile vile kabisa tunatarajia kwamba gavana wa Nairobi atakuwa pia vile vile kabisa hapa na kuweza kuzungumza na Wakenya. Matarajio yako ni yapi kuambatana na yale ambayo watakuwa wanazungumzia?
Siku ya leo ni siku ya kusherehekea vile nchi yetu ya Kenya ilipata shujaa, na kama mimi natarajia rais atakuja kutoa hotuba mzuri kuhusu vile taifa letu ya Kenya inaendelea vizuri kutoa siku tupata mashujaa mpaka wa leo. Hakuja kuwa na mambo mengine ya vita, so nadhani rais atakuja kuongea kuhusu vile tutaendelea kuwa na shujaa katika taifa letu ya Kenya, na tutakuwa na tuanze vizuri na tuwe na usalama na mambo itakuwa vizuri kabisa.
Labda wewe kama mwananchi umefika hapa na tuliweza kusema nawe kabla ya kuweza kwenda hewani, na uliniambia kwamba pia wewe unajihisi kama shujaa. Je, mbona unajihisi kama shujaa?
Mimi najihisi shujaa sababu mimi kuna siku ilifika na nikaweza kufikia rais wa Kenya, Rais Uhuru Kenyatta. Anda nikiangalia vizuri sana katika dunia yote hakuna shujaa yote amepatia rais kitu ya kutafuna. Mimi ndio mtu wa kwanza katika taifa la Kenya. Kwa hiyo mimi naamini shujaa, niko na shujaa, mimi ni shujaa katika taifa letu la Kenya.
Na labda ulipatia rais kitu ya kutafuna. Unasema ulipatia rais kitu ya kutafuna. Ilikuwa siku gani na ulimpatia kivipi?
Ilikuwa tarehe 1 Septemba. Ile siku aliambiwa ati marudio narudiwa. So hiyo siku mimi nilipata nafasi na nikampatia zawadi kama chewing gum pike ile ya green na ya yellow. So hiyo ilifanya mimi shujaa, sababu nilipita maskari wote nikamwambia acha niguze rais wangu, na nikaweza kumfikia nikampatia sweet akakula. So mimi ni shujaa mali nimefika, mimi ni shujaa, na naomba rais atuendelee kutuongoza kwa ushujaa hiyo tulipatiwa na siku ya ushujaa.
Naam, shukran sana. Huyo amekuwa ni mmoja wapo wa wachuzi katika jiji hili la Nairobi, na aliweza kutangamana na rais siku ya tarehe 1 Septemba pale ambapo rais alikuwa anahutubia wachuzi ama baadhi ya wananchi katika eneo la Muthurwa, na anasema kwamba aliweza kumfikia rais na kumkabidhi peremende ama PK ama chiwingamu, na alifurahi sana katika swala hilo la kufanya hivyo, na anasema anajihisi kama shujaa kwa sababu ya swala hilo. Na labda tukianza kuzungumza na mwenzako hapa, kwanza kabisa tutueleza kwanza jina lako, alafu tueleze umefika hapa saa ngapi, umetoka maeneo gani ya taifa hili?
Kwa majina yangu naitwa Daniel Mwogi, nimetoka sehemu ya Thika. Mimi naishi huko Thika. Na nimefika hapa tu sijui ni kama kitu saa 3 hivi. Ndio nikuja niongee na watu, nikae hapa nione, nisikize vile rais atatoa hotuba.
Na leo wewe kama mwananchi ambaye umetoka mbali, unatarajia rais atakuwa anasema nini hii leo?
Natarajia rais atasema mambo kuhusu, unajua huyu hii ni siku ya mashujaa. Zamani kulikuwa tumekaliwa na wabeberu, sasa na kuna wasee wengi walikufa, mababu zetu walikufa kwa ajili ya kupigania uhuru wetu. Sasa nafikiri ataongea kuhusu wale wasee ambao walipigania, ambao ndio zamani tulikuwa tumekaliwa na mzungu bwana, na tulikuwa tunaongozwa tunaambiwa kila kitu na mzungu mweupe. Sasa kukajitolea wasee wakaenda wakapigana na mzungu, na ndiposa ni wao tunakumbuka leo. Hawa mashujaa ni mashujaa walipigania uhuru wetu.
Naam, shukran sana. Tutakuwa tunazungumza na nyinyi baadaye. Na hivyo ndivyo mambo yalivyo katika eneo hili. Wananchi wamejifikisha hapa kutoka maeneo mbalimbali ya taifa hili, na wanaendelea kuchukua fursa zao ama sehemu zao za kuketi ili waweze kuangalia ile jukwaa vizuri. Na vile vile kabisa sio jukwaa peke yake, manake kuna pia runinga ambazo ziko katika eneo hili. Kwa wale ambao hawatakuwa wanaweza kumuona rais akiwa kule mbali, basi watakuwa wanaangalia kwenye runinga. Na sasa nakurejesha upande wa pili wa uga huu ambapo Francis Gashuri na Lulu Hassan wapo. Tuendelee kutuchanganulia masuala mbalimbali kuambatana na siku kuu hii ya mashujaa. Kwenu Lulu na Gashuri.
Naam, so Dr. mtazamaji Hassan Mugambi, popote pale ulipo mtazamaji, ni mashujaa bila kuzungumza na mashujaa. Hapa mtazamaji niko na Bi Catherine Dereba na Bi Rose hapa, na pamoja na Bi Rose, unahisi nini siku hii ya leo?
Asante sana watu wa Citizen kutualika. Naitwa Rose Tata Muya, National Coordinator Heroes and Heroines. Mimi niko upande wa Sports Athletics. Leo ni siku ya furaha sana kwa sababu hata mashujaa kwa sports walijitolea wakati wa enzi yao, wakati wa 1950s, 1960s. Wakati tukienda ngambo tunang'ang'ania tuwe benderete uende juu, na hiyo ni kung'ang'ania nchi yetu kuwa number 1. Kwa hapa leo niko dereva, niko na Busolo, niko na Tikolo kwa upande wa sports, na tunafurahi. Waangalie wakati tunakuja kwa shujaa, hii ni siku yetu, waangalie wasungumzie mambo ya shujaa, mambo ya sports, mambo ya viwanja, tunaweza kumotivate watu wetu namna gani. Na kwa sababu tuko hapa leo, sitaki kusema mengi, tuko na furaha na tunashukuru serikali yetu, kwanza president yetu vile ambaye wametuongezea tukienda nje kuna allowance moto tokeze na mufanye kwa mbali.
Na ndio wengi mngetaka kusikia. Je, unahisi kwamba wewe ni shujaa?
Najihisi na hata kwa serikali yetu kutupatia nafasi kama hii tukaweza kusherehekea pamoja. Yangu tu ni kuweza kuambia Mungu asante, ni kwa ajili ya kutupatia nchi ya kufana vile inavyofana. Na maombi yangu kwa Wakenya wote ni kwamba tukaweze kushikamana, tukakae na upendo na umoja, manake pasipo na upendo na umoja watu huishi.
Unasema Bi Catherine umepotea, umekuwa wapi?
Live pictures there from Uhuru Park, where the main celebrations for Mashujaa Day will be taking place in a short while, presided over by none other than President Uhuru Kenyatta. His deputy, William Ruto, will also be there. Governor for this great city of Nairobi, Mike Sonko, will also be there. We expect them to speak later on today, and NASA will be holding a rally in Kisumu. We'll be looking at that as well. Now, joining me in studio this morning is Reverend Timothy Njoya, a retired minister of the gospel, a civil rights activist. He can be described as many things. A hero in Kenya's fight for the second liberation. Good morning, Reverend. Karibu sana.
Good morning, sir.
Today we celebrate heroes in Kenya. It is an opportune time, given the kind of situation we find ourselves in. 5-6 days to the date set for the repeat presidential election, the kind of political crisis we are facing. You've been part of political agitation in this country. How different is it, the issues we are facing now, from the issues that you agitated for back then in the run-up for Kenya to become a multi-party state?
Well, we cannot go any way. There's no way Kenya can fall back to where it was. It could fall, but not in the same place. If you dig a hole and remove the soil, when you return it, it doesn't fit the same level. It will be higher, yes, or anything else. Kenya is not the same. It's not very different. It's the best country in the world at the moment in terms of legal infrastructure, constitutional infrastructures, institutions like devolution, like commissions, like separation of powers. You can see the court have stopped Kibaki from doing certain things, and Uhuru, and it has stopped the IBC from declaring somebody winner. So when you talk of Kenya, whether they are right or not, that's not the issue. We have human frailty flaws, but I think what is happening in Kenya, and even in the opposition, if you look at the paper, what was done to Jaramogi, you can issue. Yes. What you know.
And the Reverend has come up with a collection of newspaper cuttings from back in the day. Some of the very interesting. Odinga urges church to unite, and this is a cutting from quite a 1991. Yeah. Odinga urges churches to unite, and this, we are talking about Jaramogi Odinga, not Raila Odinga, Raila Odinga's father. Yes, things have really changed. You're saying Kenya is actually at a better place.
It cannot go back to when a president could wake up and go and tell Raila or somebody what Kenyatta could tell Odinga.
This is a cutting from October 26, 1969. I will crush you, a furious Mzee tells KPU, and we're talking about Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, not Uhuru Kenyatta this time around. And the names might be the same, the kind of names we're dealing with. We're dealing with the President Kenyatta and Odinga. We're looking at a different Kenyatta and Odinga back in 1969, still feuding. But you're saying, Reverend, that Kenya is at a better place now?
It is in a better place because we have transformed it to a level of civilization, unprecedented in Africa, I would think. Yeah, where we can allow people to go for Adamano with a few of police mistakes. I call them mistakes, or shooting. I call them mistakes because in our place, like on Sabasaba, I have that book and co. We were killed 21, the first Sabasaba, the other one, and that was deliberate. It's not stray bullets or anything.
And I'll try to draw the attention of my director, please. I need some of these pictures, the newspaper cuttings from back in, like this, especially this one, and my cameraman, 1969, October 26, 1969. We have a picture of President Kenyatta and a picture of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. This is more than 30 years, 40 years ago. And it reads on the first paragraph, President Kenyatta yesterday opened the new Kisumu hospital amid unruly scenes in the Nyanza provincial capital. There was a curfew imposed on Kisumu and a special announcement on VOK. The radio also announced that Mr. Oginga Odinga, leader of the opposition, had apologized to the president for the incidents which threatened to mar the ceremony of the opening of the hospitals. Many people were arrested. This is back in 1969. Almost 40 years later, we still have the same names. Kenyatta, President Kenyatta, opposition leader Odinga, feuding. And this is a kind of scenario we face, but Reverend Timothy Njoya says Kenya is at a better place this time.
It's a better place because that is not happening. The president doesn't wake up one day and say what could have been said in the past. That time, that is what the power, what you call an imperial president could have said. Today, the court cannot allow Kenya to be an imperial, Uhuru to be an imperial president. They can say you have not won, and that goes. So we are not in the same situation again. Let me talk about Mashujaa Day, because that's what we are. There is no Mashujaa in faith, in Christianity. What there is that people who serve others selflessly as a sacrifice to God. When you sacrifice yourself to God, you are not serving people for any gain or for fame or for harvesting the glory, because you may die. Like Kimathi died, many people die. You are a saint. I don't want to be canonized as a saint
or martyr,
because if I'm a Roman Catholic, maybe I would be canonized like that lady from India, Mother Teresa, or like somebody like Otunga. But I'm saying that's not what we are for, especially we Protestants. We say we cannot canonize anybody or credit anybody for what he has sacrificed to God. We don't need earthly reward
or recognition
in order to serve God, and you don't want to entice others to work hard in order to get recognition. You want other people to serve God as a matter of self-sacrifice, and that self-sacrifice as a matter of selflessness. So when I was called Mashujaa, when Kibaki named the Mashujaa and I was named,
you were on that list.
I was number 12, I think. We went to Nyao Stadium, and we were seated. We aside, the MPs and the government and the ministers were given the covered part. We were given outside.
The Mashujaa
were peripherized. I was sitting with Jean Kiano and Chikuku. So we were given each a flag to go and walk in front of these crooks in the government. That's when in the picture of Tagura.
And you call them crooks because you've not had a very good relationship with guys with the governments or the regime.
I call them crooks because the mayor was being accused in the papers that time of wanting to buy something for Barrio, alternative to Langata, and squandering the money. There's a
cemetery.
The cemetery.
Yes.
And many other people. That man, the ambassador to Japan, or minister of
there was that scandal back then
of Japan, saying.
But you know,
and these people are ministers, and now I'm supposed to take a flag and walk in front of them. and again, some were against even the new constitution. They were against multi-party, and they were there in the government and now I'm supposed to walk. So I received a telephone from my family telling me, come back home when they saw whom I'm going to flag. And then I thought, I would better be the one being flagged.
Because
it's our day.
Yes.
Now tell me, which Mashujaa is going to be flagged
today?
Who are going to be flagged today?
Are you
Some of them are those people are silk crooks, and they are going to be flagged by the Mashujaa. How?
Are you saying
impossible?
Are you saying in the way we vet people that we celebrate in this country, probably we are celebrating the wrong people?
We celebrate the wrong people because they were in the government. They are the one who brought Kenya to the knees, to its knees, because they are heroes, because they planted to harvest.
For example, in the kind of political crisis we are in, do you think our politicians could be described as heroes?
None. Because you cannot become a politician without having invested in power. If the moment you do serving people and you want them to give you votes, you have to count. I build you this hospital. I build you this clinic. It's me who builds maternity wards for you.
So you shouldn't.
Then you pay me. Jesus said you have no reward in heaven because your reward is in the world. Yes.
So because you've already received your reward, through political power.
You have got through political power. You have got votes.
Yes.
You have better licenses.
We shouldn't describe you as a hero.
You shouldn't describe you as a hero because you are not selfless. The two criteria: you are not selfless. Your work is not a sacrifice.
Let me ask you an interesting question. You've seen what's happened to the IEBC. We expect them to conduct a repeat presidential election in the next 6 days. Some commissioners, at least one commissioner has resigned. The chairman, Wafula Chebukati, has come out and said there's a problem here. If some of these demands are not met, I may not be able to lead this commission. Would you describe the current IEBC or the gentlemen and women in the IEBC as heroes?
We vetted them.
Yes.
We gave them the job. We should allow them to do the job and set the house in order. Every institution, even in the church, there are unpalatable characters. You cannot have a perfect institution anywhere. Even Uhuru himself made a government in which he sacked ministers. And yet he had done a lot of vetting together with the help of parliament.
Yes.
NASA itself, when it was called, it had people in committees, even a parliament. That chairman, from where? From the Budarangi. He was accused of being not faithful to the parliament and to the party. So I'm saying, when we give people jobs, we have to expect Kenya. Every committee reflects Kenya ethnicity. Everything in Kenya reflects Kenya morality.
So we lose the opportunity.
We lose the opportunity to vet well, and then we blame the systems we are setting up at. Even we blame the judges for being judges.
And we look at their names.
And we look at their names.
Wow.
So I'm saying that it is time we start abiding by the court. Maraga lifted the bench, the credibility of the bench a bit higher, a notch higher, by making a decision without fear or favor.
Yes.
Whether the decision we agree with it or not, the question is that it was the institution set to make that decision.
Yeah, and it did.
And it did.
Okay.
And we should respect institutions. What happened was wrong about Maraga is that political parties took it as a prescription or license for chaos or for anarchy.
Yes.
And that's why we have in a state of near anarchy.
Okay. Yeah. We'll come back to this very interesting discussion with Reverend Timothy Njoya. Let's go back to Uhuru Park. Francis Gashuri is on standby to continue with this conversation with regard to the preparations for Mashujaa Day. The main celebrations will take place at Uhuru Park here in Nairobi today. Francis, take it away.
Asante sana Freddy Ndimuli. Kelele nyingi sana hapa kwa sababu ya vipaza sauti, muziki unaendelea, watu wanazidi kutumbuizwa huku wakisubiri Rais Uhuru Kenyatta na wageni wengine waalikwa kufika hapa ili hafla hii ya Mashujaa iendelee ama ianze rasmi. Hapo awali tulikuwa tunazungumza na baadhi ya mashujaa ambao wamefika hapa, na kwa sababu hafla hii ya leo ni ya kuwasherehekea Wakenya wote ambao wanafanya kazi yao kwa ushujaa. Bila shaka sasa wacha nizungumze nao hapa. Nilikuwa nakukumbusha kuhusu kaka yetu John Busolo. Wale ambao ni wapenzi wa mchezo wa soka watamkumbuka sana John Busolo. Alikuwa goalkeeper matata sana. John Busolo tulikuwa nasema kwamba taifa letu limefika katika hali ya kisiasa ambapo watu wanasema labda tunahitaji kuwa na goalkeeper ambaye atahakikisha kwamba mabao ya migawanyiko, mabao ya ukabila hayataingia kwenye magoli yetu ya Kenya. Wewe kama mwanamchezo, siasa unaona vipi kuhusiana na siasa hizi na mambo ya kuishi kwa amani bila vurugu?
Kwanza nitashukuru taifa letu la Kenya kutupatia hii nafasi katika hii Mashujaa Day. Pili nashukuru Citizen kwa kunipa nafasi kuzungumza na Wakenya wenzangu, na nashukuru dada yetu Rostata Muya kwa kuorganize ya sisi wote kuleta mashujaa wote pamoja. Mimi nitazungumza kama mwanamchezo, mimi si mwanasiasa. na mpenda Kenya. Sisi tunataka tuwe magolkipa wote. Tushikilie hii siasa kwa utaratibu. Tukifikiria watoto wetu, familia zetu, ndugu zetu, dada zetu, wananchi wote wa Kenya. Wanatuangalia, tunaangalia wakubwa wetu. Hao ndio tegemeo letu. Tunaomba amani, na amani inaanza na sisi wenyewe raia. Tusikubali kutenganishwa hata siku moja. Maana tumeishi pamoja maisha yote kama wapenzi ambao tunapenda hii Kenya. Sisi mchezo huleta watu pamoja. Ndio tunaomba kama mnaipenda Kenya hii, msikubali tutenganishwe hata kidogo.
Na wewe John Busolo, kwa sababu mara nyingi umekuwa goalkeeper, mara nyingine umechezea timu ambayo imeshindwa, mara nyingine timu ambayo imeshinda. Vipi wanasiasa wanaweza kusoma ama wanaweza pata lesson kutoka kwenu nyinyi wana michezo, kwa sababu siasa kidogo ndio huwa zinaleta msisimko na kuibua tumbo joto nchini?
Mpira kidogo ni tofauti na siasa. Unajua siasa ina mambo yake na mpira ina mambo yake, lakini tungelipenda iwe kama vile sisi uchukua kama mpira. Usikubali kushindwa si mshindani. You live to fight another day. Lakini sasa siasa ni pia sijakuwa mwenyewe kama mwanasiasa, lakini ningelipendelea tuweke amani mbele. Tuweke Kenya mbele ya kila kitu. Maana Kenya ni kubwa sana kushinda sisi wote. Amani, amani, amani.
Lakini Busolo, unajua wanasiasa mara nyingine wanasema kidogo ni kama referee anaegemea upande mmoja, ni kama uwanja kidogo una mawe na miba. Nyinyi kama wana michezo huwa mnafanya nini kuhakikisha kwamba uwanja uko level, mambo yako sawa, ili mkiendelea kwenye mchezo huo, ukishinda unashindwa sawa, ukishinda unashinda sawa?
Mara nyingi sisi utegemea nguvu zetu kwa wachezaji. Sisi hapa wacheza kama sasa sisi ni makocha. Sisi jaribu kwa emphasize wachezaji waeke bidii yao, wasiweke ile malalamishi yote kwa referee. Ni tofauti na siasa. Lakini bado ningependa kuwaomba pia, Kenya ni kubwa kutushinda sisi. Tupendane, maana toka mwanzo, toka mimi nazaliwa, mimi najua ndugu yangu ni Mkenya, dada yangu ni Mkenya, baba yangu ni Mkenya, mama yangu ni Mkenya. Hiyo tu ndio ningeomba.
Naam, asante sana John Busolo. Na vile vile yuko hapa Tom Tikolo, ni mwanamchezo wa mchezo wa kriketi. Na vile vile kriketi hata zile siku zote michezo ndio inawaunganisha wa Kenya. Nyinyi labda wito wenu ni upi kwa wanasiasa kuhusiana na siasa za nchi, huku tukikaribia sana uchaguzi ambao unarudiwa wa urais?
Asante sana. Mimi kwanza nashukuru kuwa hapa leo. Kitu ambayo ningeweza kusema ni kwamba mimi kama Tikolo, Kenya ni nyumbani kwetu. Hapa sina nyumbani kwingine. Ningeomba wanasiasa walinde hii nchi. Tutawasaidia kulinda kama wachezaji, kama wana michezo. Sisi tukienda kwa michezo, tunacheza na kabila zote, tunacheza na rangi zote, tunacheza na religion yote. Tuko pamoja sisi wote. Tunazidi kuwahimiza wanasiasa. Kenya ni yetu na sisi wote tukae kama wana Kenya.
Na wewe Tikolo, shujaa ni nani kwako?
Shujaa ni mtu ambaye amefanya mambo ambaye amepeleka jina ya Kenya juu. Na ukiangalia kama kwa cricket sisi tumecheza World Cup 5. Na hizo World Cup 5 ni kama Kenya walikuwa wanacheza na Brazil kwa football. Ndio sababu tunaonekana sisi tunasemekana ni mashujaa. Kwa hivyo ni kitu ambayo unasaidia nchi kujulikana ulimwengu mzima. Kila kitu kiongelewa juu yako inaongelewa kitu ambayo ni mzuri, ambayo inaleta mafundisho kwa watoto wetu.
Tom, mbona unadhani kwamba Wakenya wanaungana kwa mambo ya michezo, lakini ikifika mambo ya siasa kuna utengano? Tatizo liko wapi? Kwa sababu wale Wakenya ambao wanawashabikia nyinyi kama wana michezo ndio wale Wakenya ambao wanashiriki siasa.
Pengine kuna kitu tunaita timu katika michezo, na ningeomba pengine wapatie wana michezo nafasi, wawe sasa wachukulie hizo viti, ndio utaona Kenya itaungana vizuri kabisa.
Tom, nimeona hapo umejipigia kampeni kidogo. Na asante sana. Hao ni wana michezo tu. Freddy, some of the sportsmen, there are about 150 people who have been picked from various sectors, musicians, sportsmen, businessmen, farmers, and from all the 47 counties, they have been picked as a representative sample to come and sit at the place of honor here at the Mashujaa Day celebrations at Uhuru Park, just to symbolize how well Kenyans have been able to do quite a number of things, even in the smallest ways, but bringing honor and fame to our country. And hopefully that Kenyans across the country can be able to take queue from these sportsmen, from the business people, from even the farmers, and all the people who are here who have been picked as a representative sample of the very many Kenyans who have been able to do small things but in an extraordinary manner. Let me hand it back to you, Freddie, but we continue to wait for the arrival of President Uhuru Kenyatta and other top government leaders so that the Mashujaa Day celebrations can keep formally. For now, it's just entertainment. Many people who have made their way here at Uhuru Park being entertained as they wait for the arrival of the top dignitaries. Remember, one of the key highlights of this kind of ceremonies and this kind of festivities is the guard of honor that is mounted by our Kenya Defense Forces. And speaking to some of the military officers there, they're saying that they will be staging an extraordinary parade today. And they don't want to say exactly how they will go about it, but they're saying tuweke macho tuone vile watakuwa nafanya mambo yao. So back to you, Freddie, but as and when you get another opportunity, please hand it back to us so that we can continue picking and hearing and seeking some views from various Kenyans who have made their way here at Uhuru Park. Back to you, Freddie.
Thank you. Thank you, Francis. Francis Gashuri there live giving us an update from Uhuru Park, where the main celebrations for Mashujaa Day will be taking place, presided over by the President. What you're seeing right now on your screens, those are live pictures from Eldoret at the 64 Stadium, where the celebrations for Mashujaa Day at the county level will be taking place. Governor Jackson Mandago will be there, as well as a county commissioner. You can already see the disciplined services already taking position. And these celebrations will be taking place at county level in all the 47 counties across Kenya. We'll be getting more pictures from other counties as well. In studio, I'm still here with Reverend Timothy Njoya, a retired minister of the gospel, civil rights activist, a man who has a very rich history in Kenyan politics. And when I say rich, it is indeed very rich. He's just showing me some of the newspaper cuttings that he has. He apparently, back in 1986, he started the movement for multi-party democracy in Kenya. He has a newspaper cutting of him and Odinga, and when I say Odinga in this case, it is Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, the father to the current NASA presidential flag bearer, Raila. And in this picture here, this is a newspaper cutting from 1991. In this picture here, he is giving one Odinga, Jaramogi Odinga, a Bible as part to signify the beginning of this movement, because Jaramogi was the first politician to accept this push for multi-party democracy. Reverend.
Yeah. Yes, he was.
Yes.
Yes. The reason you showed the pictures of when he was told, "I'll crush you."
Yes.
In Kisumu, 69.
Yes.
So the time I wanted to go and recruit people to join the multi-party, we divided. Me, I was going to recruit Oginga Odinga and Kagia, and some other people. Mwamunga, we divided with Agari Madhai and Bida Nibogwa. Who do you recruit? And yes. I was recruiting also people from the Muslim community. Marizi came, Shakra from Garissa, who died in an air crash. So we decided who to recruit, and I went to recruit Oginga Odinga, and he agreed to join the multi-party and put his hand up and said he has always had a heart for the church, and he appealed to the church not to get it divided on this, because he knew I had been sacked by the church.
Yes.
So he was also very reconciliatory.
Yes.
So I'm saying, why did I want to reach Odinga first before any other politician? Because of if you could piece together me and Odinga would have pieced Kenya together.
Yes.
And if you see the other picture in the book, you'll see me when I later. You can see Orego behind me there in the picture.
And when Reverend Njoya is talking about this book, there's a book here by Reverend Njoya, if my director could help me with this as well, even as we continue showing pictures from Uhuru Park. The book is titled, "We the People, Thinking Heavenly, Acting Kenyanly." Yes, a memoir by Timothy Njoya, "We the People, Thinking Heavenly, Acting Kenyanly." Reverend, what do you talk about in this book?
How faith impacts society.
Yes.
How by being a faithful servant of God, selfless, your sacrifice can transform society.
Basically, it's about heroes.
It's about people who got involved. If you see one of the pictures, after Ogiga, if you look at who followed, you saw a picture inside.
Yes.
You could see Orego and the rider following behind me in one of those pictures. And Kibwana. At the
current governor for Makueni.
Makueni.
Yes.
Why were they following me? Not me. They were following the ideology of transforming Kenya from one party state into a nation.
Yes.
And transforming Kenya from a market into a nation also. And transforming Kenya from a Rankasa constitution to a Kenya where people are suffering. So we were reclaiming the sovereignty of the people of Kenya. Now, that sovereignty of the people of the Kenya is so distributed and entrusted to many institutions in Kenya, like governors, like the constitutions, like the IBC, like the presidency, the judiciary.
Yes.
And that's why we must respect any of those institutions.
Do you think any of this...
Because they are exercising our sovereignty by delegation on our behalf. And that's why we were united by that ideology.
Do you feel that any of this, that you, this ideology and this, what you fought for, do you think it's a threat this time?
You see, we have gone very fast, as I said. We have set up the institutions, mechanisms, but we have not changed the psyche. The people are the same. People are not transformed. They want to have state power in order to, as a knife, to cut ugari for themselves and their families. Don't believe that there is any constitution.
Is it under threat, what you fought for?
No, it is not.
Yes.
It's not under threat.
It's intact.
It is intact.
Okay.
But
so
what is happening is actually expected because we haven't yet transformed the human psyche. The people still want power because they have seen how people get power, get rich overnight. They want power to have a knife to apportion the cake, to apportion the ugari to themselves and their families. Not for the people. The people will die, of course. But that people, even if they die, they shed their blood. The children of those who come into power will not stop going to the best universities in the world. They will not stop driving helicopters and Mercedes and living in posh areas. They will even increase them. They will acquire more property all over Kenya. So all I'm saying is that people should not be naive that they surrender, the people they are surrendering power, they should also surrender their blood. You can give votes to a politician, but not your blood. And never, 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 less even an injury because of somebody getting into power, because your family will not eat because of him getting into power. You only have what you call cathartic, what you call emotional and identification with your tribe. But in terms of benefit, the one who holds the knife doesn't know you. He doesn't know where you are to cut a piece of ugari for you. He doesn't know where. He has never been in Maraga or somewhere where you're inside. I've been in Mathare and Kevira. I used to work there as a minister. So I know the cake cannot be apportioned in Kenya, reach there, and it's a struggle. Continues.
And Reverend, curiously and coincidentally, when you talk about shedding blood and people even dying or getting injured for the sake of politicians, coincidentally in Bondo today, a number of people who've died after the encounter with police in the recent mass demonstrations. Some of them are being buried today. They're being laid to rest. We'll be showing you those pictures in a short while as well from Bondo in Siaya County. And it is very sad that people get to lose their lives at this point. And it could be described as senseless death.
You should live to see. Of course, I'm saying you should live to see the fruits of your struggle.
Yes.
Who is enjoying them? Because I'm not enjoying them myself. They are being enjoyed by those in the power.
Yes.
Even though I suffered,
what you fought for,
it's being enjoyed. The fruits are not mine.
Yes.
Neither is my family benefiting because I fought. But that's why I say my struggle is selfless. It is unselfish. It's divine. It is for God. It's a sacrifice to God.
But at least you did not get to lose your life.
I was ready to lose for many. I was there because Jesus lost for my life. But I'm saying But people are losing their right for power, for the candidates,
yes,
for tribe, not for God. They will not be remembered by them. So I'm saying, I wish they would hear what I'm saying, that you don't give a person your vote and then escort with your own blood. You give the farthest any citizen should go is to vote.
Yes.
It is not in the Constitution that you give your blood or you give your life. That is extraordinarily demanded by politicians because they are demanding something extra than what the Constitution demands for the citizens.
But back then when you were agitating for multi-party democracy, I'm sure a number of people lost their lives as well. Would you say that was meaningful?
It was not demanded. It was not demanded. It was sacrifice. Yes. But today it's demanded. I know there is a cause, there is a reason, because the Kenya is now divided not by Kikuyu between Kikuyu and Luo, between this and that tribe. It's divided between the rich and poor. It's divided between those inside and those outside. Those insiders, they must exit. Uhuru must exit. Right at my center. That's not that division is not between the people and the people, or any tribe and any tribe. It is the division between those who have and those who have not. It's a division between those inside and those outside. Those who are inside are the elites, and those outside are the elites. But when it comes to marginalization, those marginalized are the poor, and those marginalizing are the rich, and they include those who want to enter the State House, those who want to enter the State House, and those who are inside the State House. Both of them are the rich.
Yes.
And they marginalize the rest. The rest are in the periphery.
Yet we are still divided. Even those of us who are marginalized, we are still divided.
We are divided. I'm saying those who want to enter the State House, yes. Look at all the profile, Karonzo, all the other people. These are multimillionaires. They want to enter the State House. They are the house who want to remove the house. The house against the house. So the battle for State House is a battle between the house and the house. But now the real battle in Kenya is not between the house and the house, which is the poor are dying for, but it should be between the have-nots
and the house.
But now the have-nots are fighting for the house.
So the have-nots are the ones who are confused. You do not know exactly why you're fighting.
Why you are fighting? You're fighting for the haves you already have.
Yes, instead of fighting for yourself.
And you are not fighting for yourself.
Wow.
The have-nots in Kenya, the poor, they are the Waralahoi. They are fighting for the Waralaheri. To enter, to get more, but they themselves will never get because of that battle. So I think I would lead the struggle again. I would be in the streets, even though I'm 76. I don't mind going back to the streets to lead the poor, the Walalahoi, to fight the rich.
Are you saying that it's probably lack of leadership for the Walalahoi? That
Walalahoi have no leaders. They are led by the Waralaheri.
So hence the confusion.
The confusion.
Yes.
Yes.
So if at all there would emerge a leader from the Walalahoi to lead.
Even a person self-sacrificing from the Walalaheri forfeit his privileges, like I did, even forfeited my Kora. You know, I lost my Kora 3 times.
But I can see you wearing the collar. It was given back.
Because by public demand.
Yes.
I got it back.
Okay.
But I'm saying, I was willing you saw a picture there in this thing that Joya resigns.
Yes.
I was resigned to preempt being sacked when I said, let's have a new constitution, have multi-party. The following morning somebody, Cardinal Tunga, Manasseh Kuria, Biresh, the PCA moderator and others, and asked them what to do with me. They said they are going to sack him. But now, immediately I knew that I resigned. You saw the picture.
You know, it is very rare to hear of a reverend having been sacked.
I resigned to avoid being sacked. Do you know who disclosed?
But you were still sacked.
Do you know who disclosed I'm going to be sacked? Manasseh Kuria.
He told you
when he was, I didn't want to betray him from the churches, but since he is dead, now I can say what happened. he left the State House, went to Kirinyaga to Gitari's place to call my wife, who was working in the Bible, and told her what was decided in the State House.
That you were going to be sacked?
Yes, that I'm going to.
Then you decided to resign?
And then I decided, I wrote a letter and took to the head office to resign. But they didn't accept my resignation. They still met and they sacked him.
Yes.
So that I don't go with the collar. Because resigning in the PCA, you don't lose the collar.
Yes.
But when you are sacked,
you have to lose it.
You have to lose it.
Oh, no,
and I lost my pension also.
So you don't receive the pension even now?
When I have lost my pension several, but anyway, and my collar, because I was being sacked to make it a dishonorable discharge, so that I don't resign. I don't go, because the pension was at Providence, where you pay half and the church pays half.
Yes.
So I had to be sacked.
But now that you led these politicians, and some of the politicians are still politicians even now. Back then they took part in the struggle, and it was a real struggle for Kenya's second liberation. Now they're still agitating for other things. Do you think they lost the cause, that somewhere along the way they lost what they were fighting for, and are now fighting for selfish interests? You're talking about people like James Orengo, Raila Odinga. I've seen a picture here where you are leading a march somewhere and Raila Odinga is following you.
Yes.
Do you think they lost probably the cause that they were fighting for back then? Do you still think they're true to the cause?
Let me first of all give them the fact credit. They are certain geographic, this is geopolitics, ethnicity. They come from areas where are more marginalized than some other areas in Kenya. What I call permanent exclusion from power.
Yes.
So there are people who tend to think that if their leaders were in the State House, they would be better. But Gatodo, where President Kenyatta came and Uhuru comes, is not better than Mukurweini.
Yes.
Neither is Kabara. No, it's not better.
Okay.
In terms of institutional development, schools, all that, it's not better than my constituency, where I come from at Keno. Kikuyu.
Yes.
It has better institutions
than Gatodo.
Because the presidency does not give handouts, and handouts kill people and morale.
Yes.
So if you get anything free, it's a come, it's a go. So
this obsession with having our man.
Let's go to Kabarak.
Yes.
I've been there many times. I went there for one meeting where I was allowed it. In fact, when I went to Arodana Maravini for a meeting, during most time, Youth in Crusade, they called Karum Urare in the same place so that my meeting doesn't happen. Because I wanted to go and tell them, look at you people, you are still poor. Even now, in Baringo, people get ravaged by by hunger, and they steal each other's cattle.
Yet they had the president came from that place.
And the route is near there. Don't say that leaders get rich, they don't transform. It is us, civil society, churches, people who are called by God.
Okay.
You see now here, me and Tutu. Together, Desmond Tutu.
Yes.
So when I was calling Sheji in Kenya,
Desmond Tutu was
calling in South Africa, and you can see us together there.
Yes.
In the headlines in
this
Kenya.
This is Kenya Times back in 1987.
Yes, in headline.
December
me and Tutu
18, 1987.
Yes, Tutu
you are agitating for change as far back as then, 1987.
1987, and Tutu is doing in South Africa from the ACC. And do you know who paid for my school fees in Princeton? $9,000 part of it.
Wow.
Tutu, when he was called, was the head of the Theological Education Fund in London.
Desmond Tutu.
Yes, he was the head of the Theological Education Fund when I was in Princeton. So we had known each other as my benefactor.
Well, and Reverend, when it comes to church, and I've seen this kind of criticism, and even on Twitter, because you're very active on Twitter, I've seen you even respond to this question of how come, because the church has been very much involved in this agitation, even political agitation, for the longest time, even in Kenya. How come there's a feeling this time round that the church has stayed away or has failed in playing a role in what we are facing right now?
What church did you hear in South Africa? Fighting against apartheid. Even leaders. Here, you didn't hear any church. I was sacked by the church. We were all the church and the state were in cahoots, organs of the same market.
Do you think the church and the state are still the same right now?
They are still organs of the market. The church wants peace because they want to protect. Why are the church? I'm not talking about having peace, because what they are talking about is not peace. It is palliative pacification.
Yes.
They're not the peace you are talking. Peace means
so you
removing the inequalities between the poor and the rich.
So you agree the church in Kenya is actively seeking pacification and not peace.
Palliative and analgesics, what do you call it? It's tranquilizers. In Kiswahili, kupembeleza sio amani.
Yes.
No, it's not. Kupembeleza mtoto akae kimya, sio kumunyonyesha. Ukitaka mtoto anyamaze, usimpembeleza akiwa mabega
kwa mgongo. Ndio.
Mlete bere, umweke katika matiti anyonye. Hiyo ndio amani. So hiyo si kutuliza, hiyo kumupa
So are you saying, Reverend, that we should not look at the church for solution in the kind of political crisis we are in right now? Because I've seen the church, people calling on the church should come out this time round, and the church should pronounce itself on these issues. So you're saying that probably that's not where we should be looking?
They should take the issues being talked by politicians as their own. That would be the first thing. Like I took the issue of Motepate, of constitution, as and owned it, not as a political or state issue, but as a social issue.
Yes, but you also took it as an individual, not as the church.
I didn't take it, I took it as an individual, but I was summarizing. Being a theologian is meaning you have the conceptualization of what the church is by definition. Holy, Catholic, and universal.
Yes.
So you are taking that position that you are going to articulate that position in which you are trained to articulate. And that theological articulacy of action then is not paralysis. The church preaches paralysis of action. I preach articulacy of action, and that's a very, very great difference.
Reverend, we can see a very curious picture there on live at Uhuru Park. CJ David Maraga arriving for the National Mashujaa Day celebrations. That's the Chief Justice David Maraga, a very key figure in the political happenings this time round. He is the one who pronounced that ruling by the Supreme Court nullifying the election of President Uhuru Kenyatta, the election of August the 8th. CJ Maraga will be present on the same podium as President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto today as Kenya celebrates Mashujaa Day. What a day, what a picture. This is definitely very interesting.
Yes.
This is something we've been looking forward to. We've never, the kind of criticism we've seen directed the CJ's way, we did not expect him to be on the same platform as the president.
We were just talking that I was repressing the conceptualization of what the church means, what theology means, what God is.
Yes.
Now Maraga is now representing the conceptualization of what jurisprudence is.
Yes.
That jurisprudence is for the nation, and a national thing is not a personal matter.
Yes.
The court does not stand for the court. It is put there by the people on behalf of the people to make judgments that stand for national jurisprudence.
Yes.
So I'm saying, if I see Maraga there, I feel as if I were together when I preached the 1986 sermons about this nation. And you called this a state of the nation. That's what his presence there is one sign of Kenya being intact.
And it means a lot seeing the CJ and the president on the same platform at this time, because Kenyans have been seeing like this too, because one leads a different arm of government than the other. Today we're going to see all leaders of the three arms of government, probably President Uhuru Kenyatta leading the executive, CJ Maraga leading the judiciary, and probably Speaker of the National Assembly and the Senate, Justin Muturi and Ken Lusaka present on one platform today. That is very interesting.
Yes, we need people in Kenya who are bigger than their tribes.
Yes.
They are bigger than their seats. Which they sit on. They comprehend the nationality of the Kenyan person. They concerned, if they carry a Kenya passport or a Kenya ID, you are carrying every Kenyan.
Yes.
If you have an ID in your wallet, it's not your ID, it is every Kenyan's ID.
Yes.
And that's why I call it the word identity. It's called identity card to say you are a Kenyan. So anytime you have an ID, and you are presenting it, thinking that know that you are also a collective being. And I think when you have leaders behaving as that collective, in that collective thinking, that what I do is I do it because it represents my country, my ID.
Yes.
And I think that's very good.
Country first, because people assume that some of these decisions made by these individuals are so personal that David Maraga, the CJ, actually made this decision because probably he does not like one or two people.
Go to the bank as a person and say, I want a loan. You won't be given. Yeah. you have to show an ID because what is being recognized is not simply you.
Yes.
It's you under the law, because if you don't pay that loan or you steal, you are going to go to jail because you are offending the Kenyans.
Yes.
Not simply the bank. You are violating other people.
Yes.
Law represents the people's will.
Yes.
So I'm saying, every time you go to a place and you ask for a passport in the airport, it is Kenya you are representing. When you are asking ID not only in a bank, to enter a building, it's not you. You cannot be allowed to go in if it was simply you.
Yes.
So we are always representing where we belong. And we are not representing a tribe anywhere in Kenya.
Now, Reverend, we are in a very precarious political situation. Well, it is described as a political crisis, not necessarily a constitutional one, but a political crisis. It's
we don't have a crisis, we have Raila and Uhuru.
Hence the crisis.
No. Yeah, we have them, we don't have a crisis. To come and tell me having Uhuru there and Raila is a crisis, I don't agree. We have people with a brain. Crisis doesn't have thinking. It doesn't have loves. It doesn't have relatives.
Yes. I'm talking about that. Today we have this situation, we have this opportunity to for a national celebration. What would happen if, what would you expect to happen at this celebrations at Uhuru Park? Because it is a big day. And today, incidentally, Kenyans are just back home watching. And the entire country is watching what's happening.
They should watch themselves, what they themselves are doing. The real Mashujaa, if there is a Mashujaa, for me, I don't call myself a Mashujaa, I'm a saint. If God accepts my sacrifice.
You are a saint?
Yeah, I'm a saint. But I've not been canonized or beautified.
Yes.
But anyway, it's God who beautifies.
Yes.
But I'm trying to say that if you are watching Mashujaa Day, no, you are the ones who is Kenyan by what you do to make it Kenya. As I said, you are Kenyan. Everywhere you go, when you are required, anytime you ask for an ID, no, you are a Kenyan. Because that ID doesn't mean you. It means who you represent and the country you belong to. And that's not your tribal ID. You don't have a Nyeri ID.
But now you said we're not in a crisis. What we have is Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
What should these two gentlemen do? Surely, because
if they want us to die, for me I will not. Unless, but if they want their sycophants to die, I'm telling you, if they want their sycophants.
And I'm going back looking at. This picture, this newspaper cutting from back in 1969. It's almost 50 years. It's actually 48 years. October 26th. And very curiously, this is a newspaper cutting from October 26th, a very significant date in Kenyan politics as well this time around. October 26th is a date set for the repeat presidential election. This is a newspaper cutting from October 26th, 1969.
I even didn't notice it was October 26. I didn't realize 26.
Yet,
did they know they were choosing October 26?
You did not realize just how important this dispute 48 years back was between President Kenyatta, Jomo Kenyatta back then, and opposition leader Jaramogi Odinga back then.
Would you call that a crisis? No, it was Ogiga and
Kenyatta.
Today we
48 years, exactly 48 years later.
We have another Ogiga and
another Kenyatta and another Odinga. Same problem.
Same problem.
Do you think we'll ever get away from this Kenyatta Odinga issue?
No.
We will never.
No, it will repeat itself if the Kenya is not changed. If there is exclusion and inclusion, it will repeat itself, even if not between Kikuyu and Luo. It will repeat itself in other forms.
But the names should change.
The names should change.
48 years later, the names have not changed. The faces have changed, but the names are still the same.
Yes, but if any change will be a change of names and character. But as long as there is exclusion and inclusion in Kenya, people feel marginalized and the other ones who feel insiders. There will be that kind of polarization of the society.
Wow, this is a very interesting coincidence, Kenyans. Back in 1969, October 26th, the headline reads, on the Sunday Nation, I will crush you, a furious mzee tells KPU. We're talking about President Jomo Kenyatta, talking about opposition leader back then, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. 48 years later, we're talking about President Uhuru Kenyatta and opposition leader Raila Odinga still squabbling about October 26th.
October, you know, that's what I'm saying. I'm very happy to be Kenyan today and to be a Kenyan today, not to be only to be Kenyan, to be a Kenyan, to be able to be facing problems on the surface, not hidden. And the problem, the thing is that once the problem come, like they have come, they have been articulated and they have been dramatized in the streets. They are easier to solve.
Yes.
Than if people went and ambushed each other.
So the kind of agitation you're saying is a bit necessary, probably.
Yes, it's necessary because the grievances are there. You can see, like I'm saying, like Tutu there. We don't want civil war in South Africa, despite apartheid. He's crying for his beloved country.
This is 1987.
1987.
50 years ago.
Yes.
Yes.
You can show the picture of Desmond Tutu.
Kenya Times, and Kenya Times interestingly had that symbol of Jogo Jew. Kenya Times back in 1987. The headlines read, we don't want civil war in South Africa, Desmond Tutu. On the other hand, Enjoyer, church used as rubber stamp. Yes, so this criticism of the church did not start yesterday. The fact that the church has been seen as complacent, as probably working with the government of the day, it did not start from just the other day. It has been there all along. Yes, some individual church leaders have come out and pushed for other things, probably more liberties like yourself, but the church as an institution has always worked with the government of the day.
Yes, people call me the church. They see me as a symbol of the church.
Yes.
I like that. But it would be very bad for me to claim I'm representing the church. Even the church would be very infuriated by me. If I started calling myself, I'm talking on behalf of the church.
Yes.
I'm not the moderator. I'm not Cardinal Joe.
And I've seen you actually answering people on Twitter that don't ask me about the church.
Don't be about the church because I don't want to have conflict. You are creating conflict with me and the church because my ideas out-radicalize those of the church. So if I accepted to be the church, that would be, I would get finished. So I must make sure I don't claim I represent the church. I must make sure I'm not representing religion. I'm representing my own opinion. But there's no way anyway, no matter how much I disclaim, people are not going to think I'm the church. But
as long as you have the call, I will still see you as part of the church.
It's better that way than you giving yourself mandate you are not given by the church.
Okay, but do you think there's a role the church can play beyond pacification?
Even by being there to be asked. You know, when you have a mother and you have a cruel father, for children to cry to the mother, even when she is going to do nothing.
Yeah, at least you can cry.
At least you can cry. People are crying to the church daily. Can't you see my tweets?
Yes.
What is the role of the church? Why the church is silent? I see that the church is a mother in that sense. They have a shoulder to cry on.
Yes.
But I pity them.
But that's just it. That's what.
That's just it. The cry is cathartic. It is healing.
Yes.
It tranquilizes. Yeah. It pacifies. They can go to bed even without having eaten.
But beyond offering a shoulder to cry on, the church is not going to be our home.
They are the church. They should act because they are going to church every day. 80% of the church people go to church. They should solve the problem they are asking the clergy to solve because they are the Christians. They are the voters. They are the people who go on the streets when they are caught. They should act responsibly. But anyway, I don't tell them, but I hope they are not hearing me, those tweets. Because I'm not shutting them up. Yes. Because they are not saying something important.
Yes.
Oh, even though I say I'm not a church answering machine.
Yes.
That's what I tell.
I saw that tweet. You're not an church answering machine. Yes.
I'm telling that to save myself from the church.
Yeah.
So that I can, when I talk about, because the way I talk, I know it radicalizes the church.
Yes.
It's very revolutionary.
Yes.
So for me to have a license to speak anything I want, I have to
distance yourself.
To distance myself to the church to have that freedom.
But I'm sure you talk to members of the clergy, those who are not as probably, and allow me to use, as radical as yourself.
Yes.
Don't you think they have a role to play, and probably they've not been doing it in this kind of the kind of crisis we find ourselves in?
Oh yes, they have a role to play. They are still burying people. They are still baptizing people. They are still marrying people. They are doing social services. They are civil servants of the society.
But in the days
they are good civil servants. So clergymen are very good civil servants, even though not hired by the state. The work they are doing is simply like the chief.
It's government work.
Civil servants of an the civil servant is that they are keeping the society going.
If the clergy are listening this morning.
If you are going to wake up in the morning,
yes,
people die, like that child who died at Kisumu. There was a church funeral, wasn't there?
Yes. and that's the role the church will play.
They don't do church funerals for all those people who are dying in Kisumu. But the problem with you media, you know, now to cover what the clergymen say, you want only to ask Joya to say something.
Because
while there are clergymen, even bishops in the funeral, but you only cover what the politicians said, because you are paid by the politicians.
Are we now?
You must be. Why don't you cover the bishop? And he's the one conducting the funeral.
Will he say anything different? Because now you yourself says that the bishops, the clergymen are like civil servants now. But once we hear the government speak, then why do we need any other civil servant to say?
Oh, now you are telling me you are not the one treating them like civil servants. You would also do even without calling them so. So when you attend funerals for victims of police brutality, the churches don't say what you have said, because already the media doesn't say anything. It doesn't quote even show a picture of the minister conducting the funeral. They wait until the funeral ends and interview politicians, because they don't consider politicians as civil servants.
Okay. But so we think politicians are open-minded.
They are open-minded. They are going to say what they think. But you don't think the church minister...
Are we saying we have...
a bias?
And by that bias, you're saying that we have, by ourselves...
created churches to be civil servants.
Yes.
To be a civil service.
Wow.
Yes.
Live pictures there from Uhuru Park. It looks like the ceremony is about to kick off. We've seen CJ David Maraga sitting there next to Speaker of the Senate, Ken Lusaka. We've also seen just seated behind them is a Deputy Chief Justice, Philomena Mwilu. It's very interesting that we're going to see all the heads of the different arms of government, the legislature, the judiciary so far, and the head of the executive, President Uhuru Kenyatta, will be heading to Uhuru Park. I think it's about time we start listening to the happenings there. Let's listen in to some of the events happening at Uhuru Park. It looks like the ceremony is about to kick off as a band moves in to position.